Okie dokie. Right. What I'm going to do is bring that back a little bit out of the way. You still see? I'm just going to face this end off. In there, alright, yeah. I'm going to face it off and centre drill it. Now if we get in the right sort of gear, I'll just clean this end up, put centre in it, and then start tearing the shit out of it, as I say. Just took him his part across that we've just done, and he was well happy with it, so that's not so bad there. You see down there. A little drop of the old joy juice on it, shall we? So if anybody's wondering why I'm doing these bolts for the back of my van, the main reason is with some very strange laws here in England, to the point where if you want to cut your grass, not your grass, what are you on about, you donkey? When you want to go cut your hedge, you'd be frowned upon if after you cut it, let's say, you decided to chuck, I don't know, 20-30% of what you cut off your hedge onto the road. Somebody would report you, rightly so, and then you'd most probably find that the Rozzard would come round, tell you was an idiot, rightly so, and then, where are we looking at that? That back a bit more. And then they would tell you to clean it up, or they'd feel your collar. Again, rightly so. So, that's how it is here in England. But, if you're a farmer, those laws don't apply. Because what you find is, I'm going to crash into a tailstock there, aren't I? What you find is, if you're a farmer, you literally can cut your hedge any how you like, and they're nearly all blackthorn hedges and that sort of stuff. I'll have to just move you again, sorry boys. And when the farmers cut their blackthorn hedges and that, they seem to take quite delight in throwing it all over the frickin' road. And this is the time of year when they do it. So, not me being bitter towards farmers, that's just how it is. I know they have to cut the edges and what have you, but you think by now, wouldn't you, somebody would have come up with some sort of machine that would cut the hedges without throwing the cuttings into the next county. But unfortunately they haven't. So we tend to get a lot of punches this time of year. And with me being a plumber who mainly works on oil boilers, they're nearly all out in the countryside. And where I live, in this little hamlet, for our American friends, the hamlet's a very, very small village. What we find is, can't even remember what I was saying there. But anyway, because all my work mainly is out in the sticks, because that's where people are generally on oil. Where I live, we're just bordering the bottom edge of the Lincolnshire Wolds, and 135 mil. So at the foot of the Lincolnshire Wolds there's lots and lots of oil boilers, and that's usually where I end up. What's that, 50? How long do you want to be? 50? 55. So, cut a long story short, I often find myself up on the Lincolnshire Wolds pretty much every day, and you can guarantee if I'm going to get a puncture, that's where it's going to be, in the middle of nowhere, and it'll be pissing it down with rain or snowing or both. So that's why I wanted to try to make things a little bit easier when the inevitable happens. We seem to have a 3mm cut there. We seem to have in this country now a big procession of cyclists every weekend. You know, they often, obviously, they look forward to getting on the push bikes, and they stick the bulletproof Leica on Saturday and Sunday morning and off they go. You don't normally find them until you come round the blind bend in the country roads, like, and there's usually 6 of them abreast, because for some reason cyclists in England, they can't 1, 2, 3, they can't ride in single file. It's not in their DNA apparently, but they must suffer a hell of a lot with punctures because of the way the hedges are cut. So that's my little rant over. And by the way, I don't hate cyclists, well, not all the time, but that's why I'm making these pins, these new screws for the wheel hanger on the van. Done a lot of work to that van this year, and I try to look after it best I can, and as you do. So I'm doing this and not telling you what I'm doing, am I? This wants to be down to 10mm, that's going to be M10 thread. So I think we'll keep I'll move the camera a little bit in a minute then. I'll keep whittling this down and I'll bring you back when I get a bit closer. Four mil cut. That'll be down to 10mm. So double check. Within 300, that's near enough. Right. Now this next bit wants to be 30mm OD roughly. And just take a couple of mil off it and just see where we are. I don't want much. 32. It doesn't matter if it's still got a bit of the hex on it. We'll let that carry on down towards the front of the chuck, I think. .84. About there. The reason it has such a long threaded part on it, if you imagine when you sort of laid under the back of the van and you're putting your wheel back under there, you've got to slide the wheel in and then lift the hanger up. So it's a long thread just to help you sort of get it aligned and get it into the captive nut. Just makes it a bit easier to put it back on. .99, so that's within 100th of a millimetre. That's plenty. Right, so that portion of it wants to be about 30mm long, so there's no crucial measurements in this whatsoever, it's just get it done really. Right, I can't see where my other tool is. I'm taking it out. Oh, there it is. So all I'm going to do is go back 30mm to there. Like I say, there's nothing particularly crucial in this at all. I'm just setting a carriage dial up at the back of the carriage. Oh, come on, what's up with you? Right. So we'll take that carriage dial off there. We don't need that anymore. We'll come back down to here. We'll come in a little bit. Be better if I'd have reversed the feed, wouldn't it? So what I'm going to do here is this part of it wants to be about 50mm long. So I'm literally just going to check my direction, yeah. I'm going to come in till I'm touching, and as it starts to go I'm going to increase the cut. That's about 3 and a bit mil, that is. wind it back out. So that bit of it wants to be, what's that, 21.5 mil. $26.6. So 26.56 minus 20, what did I say it was? 21.5, well, 5.1. I've zeroed my dial there, so I know where to get back to. Again, this measurement on here, it doesn't really mean out, really, because this is what I'm going to machine a hex on when it's done. So 24.26. That's all right, 21. So I'll try and take off another 3 mil. Where's me on the tool on there? So we'll go in from, feeds the wrong way, isn't it? So 1, 2, 3. That's 4 mil. Set that down so it just touches, can't we? Just put a 1 milli cut on there. I think you can see where I'm going with this, can't you? So I'm going to take it down to about 22 mil. Oops, 23.28. What's that, 23.28? 23.28. So now I'm going to put on, and come back to there, 1 mil. So I've left my carriage dial on the right hand side of the carriage as I look at it. So when I put this other tool back on in a minute, I'll just check zero on the back face of that. And it should be alright. When I do the other bolt, you see, and pull this piece of steel further out the chuck, the bit that you're looking at now, this will end up being turned down to M10, so it doesn't really matter what diameter I turn that down to. Let's just check, shall we, just for giggles, and see where we got to. I won't check with that one because we're out of travel. Let's try this one. Should be somewhere there. 22.27, that's near enough. Right, are we still on our 0 there? Right, carriage dial's moved. It's because I've pushed it back too far, that's why. Right, re-zeroed there. Change the feed. Let's come in a bit. And I'm going to just touch this till it's just scratching like that. And that's near enough because, like I say, I'm going to cut a hex on that anyway. In the back face, take that tool out and cut. Just take the sharp edges off. And put a bit of the lead on down here for the thread, I think. Right, so all that's done, so we've just got to put M thread on here now, and then when we've done that bit, we'll just part it off at the length up here, and then I can hold that end in my collet holder and machine a hex on it. So we'll just get rigged up for some threading. I'm going to have to do something, see if I can find a different centre. Okay, we're set. Just got to do a scratch pass. I've got some high temp lithium grease in there. Tell you what I didn't check. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just want to make sure that the feed's going the right way. Yeah. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll do a quick scratch pass just to check we're somewhere where we want to be. Where's my thread gauge gone? That looks good. This bloody cough. Right, so we should be able to come back to the beginning, to 0 on there. That's 1/2 mil. Just wait for my number. Make sure we're not going to crash into anything. Back to 0. Now we're down to 1 millimetre. Depth of cut, I mean. This will be 1.5. It's soft steel is this, so makes a change, doesn't it? So I was at 1.5 deep, now I'm going to 1.8. I'll just go a little bit kinder with the depth, shall we say, when we're getting near the end. This will be 2 mil. Missed my number. Wait for another one. There we go. We'll go again at 2 mil. Again on the same setting, just to account for all the spring in the tool. A bit more Georgia shoot. Missed my number. Got to be quicker out. Even at the same setting, look, it's still peeling a nice chip off there, isn't it? $2 mil again. What we've got to remember is what this thing's actually for. It in no way, shape or form does it want to be a really nice fitting thread, because you got to remember underneath the van all it's ever going to get covered in is muck and shit, isn't it? Right. Back to 0. Just wind the centre out. And we'll try a fix, shall we? Where's my nut? Oh, there it is. It's a bit more yet. Although I'll tell you what it could be. It could be that there's a little bit of flex in the end of this, if the centre's not quite, you know, what's the word I'm looking, if the centre's not pushed in hard enough, you get a bit of this movement on the end of it, but then you can't really push it in too hard. Right. So we were at 2 mil. We'll do a few passes at 2.2. Everything's going the right way, yeah. Missed my number again. Still taking a bit off. Give it one more pass and then try the nut again, I think. So this will be at the same setting again, 2.2 mil. That's not taking anything off the back end here. It's taken a little bit off that front. Let's just blow a bit of that off. Try our nut again. I'm not left-handed, that's the trouble. Got everything in the bloody way. Right, now that's actually going on, although it's a bit stiff. Like I say, I would imagine the problem is we're getting a little bit of push off at this end, even with the centering. But not to worry, cut it a little bit deeper. We'll do a few passes at 2.4 mil and then we'll see where we get to. Still taking a nice piece off there, that is. Do one more pass. And after this one, we'll try the nut again. Tell you what we will do. Just take a light rub off the top. Just to take any nasty burrs off. What do you reckon, chaps? Do you reckon it'll fit? Soon find out. Right, set in the front of it. Right, so a little bit of wiggle there. A little bit of wiggle there. A little bit there. So I think the bit we need to know, I'm just going to clean the end of this up and see how it fits on there. Right, so I'll just clean the end of these threads up. Yeah, this one's actually a little bit looser. Just makes you wonder, doesn't it? Should I cut just a little bit deeper? Well, actually, no, once you've got there, it's not too... No, we'll leave it at that. So, all I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back here, part this off, and then we should be somewhere close. So, I'll just get set up with a parting blade. Parting tool, sorry. Right, that's where it wants to be to part it off. A little bit of oil on the job, shall we? What sort of speed are we on? A bit faster than that, I think. That's 320 odd revs. Take that bit of a burr off the back edge. Like that. And back in. I'm doing this by hand, I've got no power feed on it. Right chaps, there we go. So that's the first one done. I shan't bother filming the second one. I'll get the next one into this sort of state, and then, like I say, just to finish off on the mill, we'll hold it in the collet there, and we'll machine our hex on the end. I want it to be able to fit a 19mm spanner, I think, and then that'll do. So I'll carry on and do this, and then I'll bring you back when we're on the milling machine. Right. Got to take 54 thou off it, chaps. So, have a quick swallow of my coffee. We'll have a go, shall we? I'm only going to go steady because we've got a lot of stick out there, really. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. I'll just go backwards over it again. Back out a little bit. Right, that's one flat. Back onto the stop. Try the other one. I might be better splitting it a bit, wouldn't I? Do a bit more like that. Take any spring out of it. Right. Get the idea, don't you? We'll get some more done. Take any spring out of it. Right, that should be it. There we go. Right, so break that out of there. If you were doing this to make anything really accurately, you wouldn't be holding this like I've got it in here. You want something under here, a machinist jack or something like that. But for this, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's good enough. So, what's the length? Oh, about that. Right, get this one finished, and then we'll just pop them back in the lathe and just round these ends off a little bit. I'll see you back in the lathe. Right, the last little bit just to finish off. Oops, where are we going now? That was all the waste stock we had, so we didn't do too bad. So I'm just going to just lightly nip them. We'll just clean this end, that pip off the end, and just put a little chamfer on the front, I think. Do it. One. Just maybe. What's that one look like? Oh no, that'll be alright. Right, ladies and gents. That's it for another week. Everything's all done. So they're the ones that's going to go under the back of my van. And in a few minutes, when I've just a little bit more tidying up to do in here, I shall lather them in some copper grease, which is there in the little tub. A little tub of copper grease in there, look, with a brush in it. So that'll be what I'll do with them. I'll go and just lather all the threads and every part of them really. In fact, better if copper grease will stick better if there's no oil on them. So I may just give them a quick blast over with some brake fluid. Well, that's it. Simple little job, but when you're in the middle of nowhere and you've got a puncher, hopefully he says, it won't happen, but if it does, at least I might be able to look back and say, well, this is after I've changed the wheel. I'll maybe look back and say, well, I'm glad I did that. Right, boys and girls, till next time, see you later.